Hey guys, thanks for joining me for another Dissidia Final Fantasy Opera Omnia video, and today we are going to do a character guide on Prompto. So, Prompto is kind of an interesting one because I kind of gunned for his banner when I was summoning for Kane, because it's like, oh, I need his LD. I was ridiculously lucky on Kane to the point I didn't have a chance to drop Prompto's LD. Well, I decided later on I just went in with tickets and did like 30 tickets and got his LD. So here we are. So Prompto is a character I haven't had a ton of experience with because this is my first time having his full kit. But I did try him out a little bit, and he is a very, very cool character. He is a character that I feel like he does take a little bit of finesse to play. Prompto is all about a buff upkeep, and he's got a lot of buffs that you have to kind of keep an eye on and watch out for as you're playing him. But I feel like Prompto is a character that is a little bit more difficult to play, but also more rewarding for playing him well. So I think he does take a little bit more skill to play than, say, a character like Terra, which is like press LD and press a bunch of buttons, you know what I mean? So yeah, we'll talk about it. I'll try to hopefully make it simple for you guys, though. It's not that bad. You just have to understand what he's doing with each piece, right? So let's start off by looking at his artifacts and his spheres, and then we'll kind of go from there. So for his artifacts, oh, I have to actually equip them. Or yeah, let's do it right now. So what you want are the attack 108 and then the photographic memories boost. So the photographic memories boost is your number one that you want. It raises attack and speed, and then attack 108 get more attack. Prompto is a follow-up character, so attack is pretty important on follow-up characters because you want them doing as much damage as possible. So I feel like that's really the way to go. You could do attack 108, max brave 330 as a backup. You could do Max Brave and Photographic Memories boost as a backup if you need to. But these are all solid options. You see I just filled up my box with all these. So that's what I would go with there. But he is a follow-up character. He does have evasion in his kit. He does have locks. So he's got a lot of different things going on. So that, like I said, he's not like as straightforward as other characters. Let's look at the spheres here. So he's got an A, D, and an E slot. Once again, because he is meant to do a lot of damage through his follow-ups, I would go with something with either attack or ranged attack or brave damage. Because he's a ranged attacker, I feel like Kane is a really good slot in there because Kane's does really, really high amount of attack for range damage. So I went with Kane there. The D slot, this is more of a generic where you just want like an Ash, a Hope. Waka does work if you want Waka on him, so anything like that would be fine. I put Hope on mine. And then in the E slot, once again, E slots are always... they're a little bit more open-ended, right? So if you want a specific debuff that maybe he doesn't already carry and you want to add that on, if you want to add poison with Ferris, you could do that. Or you could do an attack one. So if you're just looking for a generic attack one, Yuffie's is really good. It raises max brave and attack when you debuff. Yuffie is one that I would definitely refine a lot of them when she comes around because she's very good. Actually, I feel like we just had her because I had a whole bunch of Yuffies that I feel like I just refined. But yeah, Yuffie's a really good generic E slot if you're not looking for a debuff and you're looking more for attack buffing. So I did, like, you can see I really focused on just buffing his attack because I want those follow-ups to come through and do more damage, right? So let's go ahead and hop into the showcase here. Once again, we are going to be on the Shinryu fight just so we can kind of show our guy off a little bit. We'll just do no friend. I think that'll be fine. And let's go ahead and hop in. All right. So... he's going to have a lot going on, so we'll kind of go piece by piece here in track what he's got. So we're actually going to start just by looking at like some of the buffs and things that he has on at quest start. Let me just go ahead and do an attack with Kane here. Well, actually, no, let's look at Prompto first. So Prompto, just like starting out the fight, he's got 3 buffs on him, but the big one is this Past Overcome buff. So this Past Overcome buff, this comes from his LD, okay? It only starts at 4 turns, but his LD is going to refresh it up to 12. This is one of the more important buffs to upkeep. So what it does, it raises party attacks and does some of this other stuff, but the main thing is this, anytime a party member does an HP attack, he's going to do a follow-up attack. But you're going to notice it has stacks on it. So Past Overcome is at 4 stacks, and right now it looks gold, and that means it's at its max stacks. Every time he does Link Attack, which is his follow-up attack, it's going to go down by 1. And if it goes below 2, he stops doing follow-ups. So what you want to do is you want to make sure you upkeep that. Now, you don't upkeep the stacks by just refreshing it. There's actually a different way you do that. So I'm going to kind of go through that piece first. So watch what happens here. We're going to have Kane just do an attack here. And he's going to do this link attack. So that comes from past overcome. Now what you're going to notice is, we'll look at him again. You can see it's subtracted down. It's only at 3 stacks now and it's no longer gold. So we can tell that he's used that up, right? Now here's what you're going to notice is the enemies get these blue markers on them. These blue markers basically, whoever attacks before Prompto does, will put these marks on the enemy. And so Prompto, you always want to make sure you're attacking an enemy with a mark. So if you're doing single target, only one of them will have the mark on. We did an AoE attack, so they both have the mark. When Prompto attacks an enemy with the mark on, he's going to get those stacks back up to 4 on that buff so he can keep doing his follow-ups. So you really want to make sure, as much as possible, you're always attacking the marked enemies if you can, to make sure that that happens, right? So with Prompto, I usually like to start with the 15 CP, which is Star Shell. So what it's going to do, it's going to lock the enemies onto him, and it's going to give him 100% evasion for 3 turns. So that's really good. You can really use that too to set up, like if a boss is going to do a big attack or something, so that you can kind of have a plan around it, right? So we'll go ahead and let Penelo do this. Now, you notice Prompto didn't follow up there. It's only when you actually do an attack with an ally. It's not just like when you do anything. So like right now, if I say, well, I was going to say if Penelo was going right before Prompto, that right enemy would be marked, but it's only the enemy, or it's only the ally that attacks right before Prompto. So it actually based it off of what Kane attacks. So we'll try to do a single target hit with Kane here, just so you guys can see it. So we'll do a single target here. Okay. And then we'll link attack, which will do our AoE damage. Okay. And now you'll see only the right enemy is marked. So if I were to attack the left enemy, my link attack would fall off. You can see my link attack's only at 2 right now, or past overcome. So that's why you typically want to attack the marked enemy. Now, you don't always have to. You can let it fall off if you want to. Just make sure you get it back up as soon as possible, right? Okay, so let's go ahead and let's just do the 35 just so you guys can see it. But this, he has another buff called Life of the Party, which is right up here, which just raises max brave and attack. You just want to upkeep that, so that's basically what that 35 does. It does do a defense down on the enemies as well. So, you know, it's not the button you're going to press the most, but it's something you can press. The big thing is he's got a fast charging EX, and that's going to bring now a new Brave and HP attack with it. So that's something else we'll have to talk about. So he's got a lot of moving parts here. Let's go ahead and let's just, we'll just do this. It's fine. And then once again, we get the link attacks. It's going to subtract down. That's the really big thing, though, is just maintaining that and understanding that part of it. We'll just do an attack here. All right, and Prompto does have the EX up. So what the EX is going to do, it's going to give him a buff called King's Buddy, which just increases party stats and increases his own speed. But the big thing is that it changes his HP in Brave attacks. So let's go ahead and do that. So once again, I'm going to attack the marked enemy here. And then that's going to give him his counters back. So like you said, you've got a lot of things to watch, a lot of moving parts, right? So now the next time he comes up, we're going to see that. Let's go ahead and do the EX here, I think, with Kane. That'll push the enemies back. I kind of want to get myself into a summon just so I can kind of do stuff uninterrupted by the enemies here. All right, perfect. We're into summon phase. Very good. We got our link attack going. Good. Okay. And you can see the damage there on the link attack. Not like the most overwhelming, but my Prompto is like super minimally built. Like he doesn't even have Lufenia armor on. So if you like Prompto and like you give him like blue armor, you give him a Ultima gun, like he's gonna be looking a lot more impressive. So don't be like turned away by those low numbers you're seeing. Mine is very minimally built. I have the whole kit. I just didn't like upgrade his armor and stuff because I didn't want to use the materials on it, because I personally am not going to use Prompto a lot, but I always could go back and do that. It was nice to have the LD just in case I wanted to use him at some point, right? Okay, so we'll just skip through that. Okay, so Prompto coming up again. So now what you're going to see here, he's going to get his Brave attack and HP attack now become Overkill and Crack Shot. So both of these attacks, you typically want to press them right away because they're going to be free turns. And basically, Overkill does an instant break. So it can actually be very good utility-wise, because sometimes you get bosses where they set your Brave to 1, they'll do a huge Brave gain, and you like can't do anything to break them. So you can use Overkill. That would be an instant break, which is really, really good. It does a little battery. It also does an attack down. The other option is you can do crack shot. Crack shot ignores defense, so defense ignoring can be quite powerful as well. So based on the situation, you can choose either one that you want to use. It's going to be like a one and done, so we'll go ahead and use that just so you can see it. And then that's basically the attack, and then it will come around until his EX comes up again. But his EX is very, very fast charging. Okay, so that's basically it. I think I've pretty much showed everything here. So with Prompto, because he's got so many moving parts to his kit, there isn't like a set rotation of like a certain order to do things. I personally like starting off with the evasion, but you can start, I guess, however you want. But you got to maintain all that stuff. So like I haven't done his LD yet, and that buff from the LD actually fell off. So you need to make sure you use that. So yeah, let's actually use the LD. We didn't do that yet in the kit, right? So that's what the LD looks like. Pretty decent damage, but like I said, my Prompto needs to be kitted up a little bit more to do better numbers, but it's really good that I can at least just explain the kit to you here, right? With the LD too, something else is it does recover a skill 1 and skill 2. So he does work on the King Lufenia Plus, that the orb that requires you to recover 2 skill uses. Prompto does fulfill that. So if you didn't get King and you haven't beaten that yet, but you have Prompto, you might be able to go back and beat that with Prompto on the team. So that's definitely something there. But that's basically it, guys. That's Prompto. He's kind of a cool follow-up, dodge, evade character. He's one of those characters that he doesn't really excel at anything, but he does a lot of different things. And you notice a lot of his damage is pretty underwhelming, but his EX is popping off quite a bit. And his EX does do good damage. And once again, it would look a lot better, once again, if I had him kitted out a little bit better. But yeah, there you go. Just upkeep the buffs, pay attention to what's going on. The big thing I think for a lot of people is just understanding how those follow-ups work and how you keep that. Like, people probably wonder, like, what do those marks mean on the enemies? That's what it is. You just want Prompto to target those guys to make sure that you're upkeeping his follow-up attacks. So anyways, guys, there you go. Let me know what you think of Prompto. If you have any other questions, hit me up in the comments or join my Discord. My Discord is in the description. Thanks for watching. We'll catch y'all on the next one.